Hi, this is Carl Potter, and today I'd like to talk to you about 4 elements that keep safety simple. And keeping safety simple is my mantra. That's what I want to do. I like to take complex situations and make them simple where they're easy to apply, because I know one thing. As human beings, if it's complex, if it's hard to do, we're going to resist it. So one of the things I like to do is break it down a little bit, and that's what we're going to do in this short video. And one of the things that I've noticed, and the reason I got so interested in this, is in my research, I start seeing people, well-meaning consultants and companies building complex safety management systems and expecting the rank and file, the folks where they get the grease under the nails, the dirt in the treads of their boots, and they're out there doing the work, and they're trying to get work done, and it's hard for them to implement. Also, their frontline leadership, it's hard for them to do. So it comes down to 4 things that both those levels of the organization can really do, but more importantly, the higher levels of the organization that have the complex systems will know how to deliver that information. And that's a lot of the work that I do with safety cultures. So let's kind of look at this. The 4 most important elements I find, number 1 is attitude. Doesn't matter where I am in the world, whether it's in Tanzania, and I've asked them, and I've asked people in downtown Dallas, safety people, workers, employees of companies at safety stand-downs, what's the number one thing that improves a safety culture? And number 1, without a doubt, always is attitude. And I think you'll agree with me on that. It's always attitude. A positive attitude towards safety always is help. It helps. It greases the rails. It pushes things forward. It gives people a positive outlook on that topic. And then the second thing is observations. Well, observations came about years ago with inspections and things, and that's what we call them, inspections, and we turned them a little bit nicer and said they're observations. Well, they're just that. We look at something, we maybe take a checklist and we walk through the workplace and we check things off. We make sure that they're safe, whether it be fire extinguishers or whatever. But observations go further than that. You're walking through the workplace and you see an unsafe condition or an unsafe behavior, you need to call attention to it. That's what observations are about. But over the years, observations have been pumped up with all the data gathering, and people have asked supervisors, managers, even workforce to observe a lot of things, fill out a lot of paperwork so that they can begin to study the workplace. And although that's good, we don't want that to overpower so that it becomes a negative attitude towards the observations, and that's the importance of that. Thirdly is procedures. Procedures are so important. And even in my hazard recognition and control workshop, I have a statement that is, where there is a rule, there is a hazard. Where there is a rule, there's a hazard. But where there's a hazard, there may not be a rule. In other words, back several years ago when I started thinking a little bit deeper about it, I said, when it comes to safety rules, procedures, regulations, all those kind of things, those are there because there's a hazard that's an element in the workplace creating an unsafe condition. So that's what that's about. So procedures are so important. We have to, number 1, we have to learn them, we have to know them, we have to understand them, and then we have to apply them. And I go into depth on this in my presentations, but it's so important to understand those procedures and why they play a role in creating a workplace where it's difficult to get hurt. Last but not least, number 4, you all know it, PPE, our favorite, personal protective equipment. In 1977, I went to work for the utility industry, and the first thing they handed me was a hard hat and said, here you go, Carl, here's a hard hat, this is your safety equipment. Now, don't get killed. That's your job. And I was like, what? Don't get killed? Okay, so that was the goal back then in 1977. Fast forward to today, we're looking at it and we're saying, don't get a scratch, cut, or bruise. And a lot of people push back on that. But the whole idea is that if we have a good attitude and positive attitude, we're going to see things through observations, and we're going to probably follow the procedures that have been laid out ahead of time for us to follow. And if all of that fails, those 3 fail, The PPE we're wearing that is designed to protect us from the hazards is being worn, whatever that proper PPE is. And it's just that simple. So these are the 4 elements that I think are so important to keeping safety simple. And if we keep safety simple, we're going to create a workplace where it's difficult to get hurt. People will take more responsibility for safety and probably be more willing to be accountable for safety. So this is Carl Potter. Appreciate the time. Thanks for tuning in. And I would love to come to your workplace and visit with you at length about these 4 elements. But for now, go out and make it a safe day.